There has been a lot of discussion around Nebraska's incoming transfers this offseason, and rightfully so. The Huskers added a bunch of high-quality players, whether that's Dane, Williams Nwaneri, Dasan McCullough, and so many more. But I've noticed that there are three transfers who absolutely balled out in spring practice and are in line to potentially start for next season that nobody is talking about. So in today's video, I'm going to go over who these three underrated players are, what they bring to the table, everything you need to know about them, and so much more. This is a jam-packed video talking about Nebraska's transfer portal additions, underrated edition. Please hit that like button if you're fired up. And really quick, if you support the channel, it would take 2 seconds. Join the best family here on Nebraska YouTube of over 10,000 strong. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. But without further ado, let's get into it, talking about Nebraska's three incoming transfers that nobody is talking about, who not only balled out in spring practice, but are in serious consideration to potentially start this year for Nebraska, or at least get significant playing time. And I feel like the narrative recently, everybody talks about Dane, everybody talks about Williams Nwaneri, what he could be, Dasan McCullough, Marquez Watson, Trent, a couple other guys, and those players are phenomenal, and they're going to play a lot for Nebraska this year. But some of these under-the-radar players don't get mentioned as much, and they could be just as good, if not better. So I want to get things started with the first player on my list who nobody's talking about, who could be in the mix to even potentially start this year. This is Justin Rhett, transfer from the Georgia Bulldogs. You know, just the fact that he transferred from Georgia should tell you everything you need to know about this guy. Now, of course, in 2 years with the Bulldogs, he really did not play. He was an avid special teams player, but he's a guy who you can put in the slot, you can put at safety. He's 6'1", he's 200 pounds. He was a former big-time recruit, had every single offer you can imagine. He was only a low four-star prospect, but he had Alabama going after him. He had Georgia, he had Florida State, he had Tennessee, he had Oregon, he had Notre Dame, and a couple others. Justin Rhett was a huge recruit out of high school, and for good reason. When you watch his high school film, he was a physical tackler. He's a guy with good speed, good explosiveness. He's a guy who's not afraid to get dirty, right, to line up in the box. So Justin Rhett, for that reason, committed to Georgia. Didn't really get opportunities on defense in his first 2 years with them, but again, was really, really good on special teams. Now, of course, he transferred into Nebraska in January, and he balled out in spring practice. And nobody really discussed him. We talked about him a couple times on the channel, but the Nebraska coaching staff feels like he's going to be in the two deep this year, potentially could be competing for some starting reps, not only at strong safety besides Deshaun Singleton, but maybe even in the slot. But Justin Rhett is somebody who I'd absolutely buy stock of. And, you know, even if he doesn't start, and he probably won't start right away on defense, he's going to be one of our best gunners on special teams. We know that Mike Eckler, he wants guys who are physical, who have athletic upside, who are not and who are willing, you know, to lay the boom on an opposing kick returner or punt returner. That's what we get here, Justin Rhett. So again, he had a phenomenal spring practice. The coaching staff, they were raving about him. When Nebraska canceled their spring game, this was one of those guys that they were trying to protect, because if Justin Rhett went out there and balled out in the spring game like he was balling out all spring ball, a coach, you know, from an opposing Power 4 school might say, hey, you're not going to start at Nebraska. Why not enter the transfer portal again? You're going to start for my squad going into the fall. So this is one of those guys that they were trying to protect. Again, I'm absolutely appalled that nobody's really talking about Justin Rhett, because he had a really, really, really good spring practice for the Big Red. So that's the first guy I want to give some love, because he's going to be on the field a lot, whether that's on defense or on special teams. Get ready to hear his name. Second player. Let's keep it with the secondary. Let's go to one of my guys. This is Jamarion, somebody who I would not be shocked by the end of the year when we're in our bowl game, if we're playing Iowa week 14, if we're playing Penn State week 13, if Jamarion is starting somewhere on this defense. Very similar to Justin Rhett. He's a guy with positional flexibility, and I've told you guys this for years on the channel. When you have positional flexibility, they play corner, the ability to play slot, the ability to play safety, it just means you're going to get on the field a lot quicker, and you're going to get on the field, it's just overall a lot more. And Jamarion has that ability. Obviously, he transferred in from Southern Illinois, which was an FCS school. It was kind of an under-the-radar addition, but people forget just how dominant he was with the Salukis. Again, he was one of the more physical corners in America, had 60 total tackles, which that's absurd. From a corner, you do not see corners have 60 tackles on the year. He was very physical in the running game, shedding blocks, getting to the running back. But overall, I mean, let's just go to his film from last year. He had 6 passes defended. I'll just show you right now what we have in store for Nebraska. Again, very physical, can use his hands. He can play corner, he can play slot, he can play safety with his physicality. Now, he was not playing in spring practice for Nebraska because of the fact that he got banged up in winter conditioning with a little bit of a shoulder injury. But despite that, even in winter conditioning, Jamarion was really balling out, and the coaching staff, they really felt good about him. He was one of the coaching staff's my guys, Mozee, who's one of Nebraska's brand new coaches. He actually coached him back in high school. So listen, Jamarion, with a wide open secondary competition going into the fall, would not be shocked if he's potentially our second string corner, second string safety, and he'll be in the mix not only once again on defense, but also on special teams. But again, just look at the film here. Again, it's just super physical all around, good ball skills. He played BYU, I believe, last year for Southern Illinois, and he was shutting down BYU's top receiver. So he's played against some of the better teams in America and played really well. Just look at this rep right here. Physical, incomplete. There you go. And he got good speed on him as well. So I'm very high on Jamarion. We'll watch out for that name. We got a lot of guys in the secondary who I expect to really break out going into the fall. It's going to be a better secondary than people expect. I was very low on it at first. Now I'm feeling like it might be one of the better in the Big Ten. So really liking what I'm seeing from Jamarion. Third and last player I want to get to, who honestly I just think's not talked about enough. So I'm going to put him in this underrated category. This is Nyziah Hunter. I just feel like nobody's talking about Nyziah Hunter for some reason. I don't know why that is. Again, a lot of the people were talking about Jacory Barney, and rightfully so. Jacory Barney, in my opinion, is the best player, arguably the best player on this entire offense, maybe even the best player on this team as a true sophomore. So people are talking about Barney. People are talking about Dane, and obviously Dane was one of the best receivers in the SEC last year. We're talking about Demitrius, some of these true freshmen like Cortez Mills. But we forget that Nebraska brought in Nyziah Hunter, who last year as a redshirt freshman was one of the best in America. You just go back to his stats with Cal: 600 receiving yards, 40 receptions, 5 touchdowns. He's a physical receiver. He can make plays after the catch. You can put him in the slot. You can put him at wide receiver Z. You can put him at wide receiver X. And he had a really good spring ball. At the start of winter conditioning, he was starting a little bit slow. We reported it on the channel. It was kind of taking some time for him to adjust to Nebraska, but he really came along at the end of spring practice, was looking like he did last year for Cal. So I just put him on this list because I don't know why we're talking about some of these other transfers more than Nyziah Hunter. Nyziah Hunter might end up being the best transfer that Nebraska landed in this entire class period. He might end up being a better addition than Dane, because it should be noted from Nyziah Hunter, you're getting 3 years out of him. Okay, Dane is only going to be here for a year. He's going to be impactful for that year, but Nyziah Hunter has 3 years left. He's probably going to utilize all those 3. So I saw that to say this: Nyziah Hunter is still a guy with high upside. He's been productive at the highest level in ACC football, and 600 yards last year, and he has 3 years of eligibility left. I just don't understand when we're not talking about this guy more. He's a starting receiver for Nebraska this year, and he absolutely balled out during spring ball. So those are my 3 transfers who I just think aren't getting enough love. We were talking about some of these other guys, and rightfully so. We brought in a lot of high quality players, but those are the 3 that I just feel like we should talk about a lot more, because I would not be shocked if they're in the mix to start. I know Nyziah Hunter is going to start, but the other 2 are going to be in line to start, or at least get a lot of playing time on defense and on special teams. All right, I want to hear what you have to say. What is an underrated transfer? Who is an underrated transfer that Nebraska brought in that you really think is going to ball out this year? Let me know in the comment section. Hey, if you made it this far on the video, you know what to do. Hit that like button and subscribe. As always, folks, go grab, go Met Roll, and I'll see you in the next one.